I've been training for a pretty long time now, and during that time, you see trends come and go. For a couple of months, that'll mean extremely minimal training setups using predominantly free weight movements. The next, it will be complicated cuffed and cable movements that take ages to set up. And then the next, it will be something else entirely different. The truth is, the optimal way has always been somewhere in the middle. In this video, I'll show you my exact S-tier exercise list for each muscle group, as well as alternatives if you don't have the exact machine or only have access to a few dumbbells, barbells, and cables. If we start with chest, my first S-tier exercise is a converging neutral grip machine press. The machine press ensures stability, the converging path means we're taking the pec through its natural, full range of motion, and a neutral grip has been proven time and time again to yield greater hypertrophy for the whole pec compared to a pronated grip. If you don't have access to machines, your best option is a dumbbell press on a slight incline, but bear in mind your elbow path. It should be a little more tucked than usual, just so we're well versed to make sure we get the most out of the pec. Secondly, I'd add a pec deck. Again, plenty of stability being seated with a back support, and for guys that are a little more tricep dominant, we ensure that the chest is the primary mover. One thing I see that people mess up with this movement is flaring ribs too much with an excessive arch. Keep the arch in your back minimal and your chest stacked over the rib cage. Moving on to back, in particular the lats, a single arm seated pull down with the arm moving in front of the body seems to yield the best results. Here I'm using a Nautilus pull down, bracing with the other hand to create more stability and sat back in the seat as far as possible to allow the elbow to move in front and away from the hip. If you don't have this machine, you can use a cable like in the clip shown now. And when thinking about thickness, I really like this prime chest supported row. The D handles allow for free rotation at the wrist and a little more flexibility in elbow path, and the chest support again taking out the lower back, which is usually a limiting factor. If you don't have this, set up a bench and mimic the movement using dumbbells. So that's the chest and back complete. Now let's think about delts. First of all, a stable pronated grip shoulder press is a key movement. For years, this was disregarded as a waste of time exercise. However, it consistently shows very good stimulus for the side delt, which is the muscle that will give you the classic V taper, as well as, of course, tying in the front delt and upper pec. Secondly, I'd add a cuffed crucifix cable lateral raise using a slight incline bench and the cable set to knee height. This allows the resistance profile of the cable to match quite nicely with the natural strength profile of the delt. Most of you will have access to this, but if not, a dumbbell lateral raise seated on a bench is also fine. Moving to quads, a recent favourite of mine has been this seated hip press with a very low foot stance. This for me takes out any vulnerability of the lower back, and the lower foot stance allows for plenty of knee flexion, which is ideal for the quads. If you don't have this, you can do a simple leg press, or worst case scenario, a barbell squat with an elevated heel is more than sufficient. For quads, we also want to include a leg extension to train the rectus femoris, which can only be trained via knee extension in a leg extension. For hamstrings, some kind of hip hinge is necessary. I've really been enjoying this belt squat stiff leg deadlift variant recently, as it allows me to drive my hips back and then drive into the weight on the concentric. If you don't have access to this, a simple barbell or dumbbell stiff leg will suffice too. A seated curl is also great to pair with the hip hinge, a little more stable than a lying leg curl and targeting the bicep femoris, which is neglected in hip hinges. And finally, moving to calves, your only option here for optimal growth is a straight leg variant. I prefer machines that allow me to load the weight at the hip rather than my upper back, like a standing calf raise would, but if you don't have access to this, a normal standing variation, whether that be on a machine or Smith machine, is fine. If you're using dumbbells, I'd suggest doing this on a single leg basis, just for stability and loading purposes. So that's the entire list and every single body part and the S-tier exercises that I believe are truly the best for each body part. If you consistently do these exercises and make your primary goal to just get strong at these, you will make good progress. Build your program around these, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section below or send me a DM on Instagram and I'll get back to you.